What do you think of when you think of ISIS?
Terrorist.
What do you think of when you think of ISIS?
Terror.
Why do you think ISIS does what they do?
Because they're evil.
They're evil.
They're very...
Who is this Isis? Is it the Egyptian goddess? Is it a single person? I'm afraid not. ISIS refers to a terrorist group, named the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Born from Al-Qaeda, specifically the Iraqi faction, Al-Qaeda Iraq or AQI, it became something more, something darker. It currently still creates chaos and panic across the world, including things from bombing Russian jets to creating terror in Paris. We will observe them now. As stated before, ISIS or Isil is derived from AQI. They are passionate in what they do. The decisions they claim are in accordance with the prophetic methodology, which means following the prophecy and example of Muhammad in a punctilious fashion.
The Islamic State can trace its roots back to AQI, which is Al-Qaeda Iraq. This organization was led by Abu Murab al-Zakari, who was responsible for many bombings, beheadings, and kidnappings after the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2006. Not in 2006, but he was killed by American airstrike in 2006, and his position ultimately fell to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, who is the current leader of ISIL. Through all of that, ISIL became a separate organization from AQI and Al-Qaeda, and therefore became just another jihadist organization. The main dilemma with ISIL right now is that the Iraqi government is made up of Shia Muslims, and so when ISIL was coming up, and even now, they occupy areas that are made up of Sunni Muslims, and ISIL is also Sunni. So when these Sunni Muslims join this jihadist group, it becomes just merely an ultimate battle between the Shias and the Sunnis, and it just adds on.
So if ISIL has separated themselves from other organizations like Al-Qaeda and AQI and have become their own state, how are they so successful? There are only one nation, only one band of terrorists. How are they able to influence the rest of the globe? And why is their influence so strong?
In 2014, the CIA estimated that about 30,000 people were part of ISIS, including local supporters. They also believed that this number was growing. The shocking part about this population, however, is that it in part is due to many foreign fighters traveling across the world to join this jihadist group, including people from France, Germany, Belgium, Holland, Australia, and even the United States. Imagine, people coming to join a group that, due to what they do, takes away people's freedoms and rights to live peacefully and stand peacefully in front of a home, as I am standing right now.
What is ISIS's motivation? Why do people join them? What did they promise to recruits? Why do they do what they do?
The jihadist violence, in a certain perspective, we can say is a reaction to, maybe a reaction to this Muslim anger and violence. And this anger and violence is maybe a reaction to like the marginalization of Muslims. So, this could be also a good example with Western jihadists. So what I'm saying is, people may have the stereotype where they see a Muslim, they think violence, and they think terrorists, which is what we have now. And this jihadist reaction, it has been proven in studies that some Western jihadists, especially, are marginalized or alienated, and so therefore, so they have nowhere to look. They're being bullied in their own country, in their own homeland, where they're supposed to feel comfortable, and they don't have any home. And then here comes a group such as Isil that promises things, we are like you. We have, we are all like you. We can support you. We will not bully you. We will not discriminate you. But just help us fight this war against the whole world. And, especially young people, they think, wow, this sounds great. Except for the part where they actually go and they're recruited and they see their goals and they see what the group really wants to do. And we find out, unfortunately, that it's never been about religion. It's always been about politics. And, so I think that has one thing to do with it. It's just the fact that, especially now, that, after many years, a stereotype has developed that, the influence of ISIS is, what do they say, word of mouth that, hey, this group is promising this, let's go over there, let's go join them. And unfortunately, that's not what it is. And it all goes back many years. You can start, with like the Ottoman Empire in Syria. You can start with all these people taking control of land, and it's always been about territory. Not always, but there are many religious parts of it, religious elements, but overall, it's been a mixture of both. And I feel like using religion ties people together, and that's what gets people attracted to it. Now, we can say the main start of this whole violence and this whole tension in the Middle East, one part of it, especially with this group now, it may be, people, the Israelis, the people, the land, the Holy Land, the Palestinian lands being given to these people in Israel and everything, and and like in the Crusades, we see how the Muslims use this religion, the Catholics use their religion to kind of say, hey, we're doing a war because of this, and this is how religion ties into politics. We see how this influence, many people believe in this, so they therefore go to politics. And with all this violence influencing everybody, and the scholarly consensus of the violence, you see that it affects people psychologically, what they see out in the world. So now we have these people thinking, wow, what if I could do this too? And, that just affects people. So as far as playing people's minds and lying to people, especially young people, targeting these recruits, these possible recruits, what are law enforcement doing about it? Well, we can't affect what people like, it's just wired into us. We can't affect their desires. We can't affect their motives. However, we can stop people from manipulating others. We can stop the recruiters that are gathering the following.
ISIS is responsible for a little over 5% of civilian deaths in Syria, and maybe more. If they're so powerful, do we believe that they can succeed? And if they do, what would happen? What would go on? How would the world continue?
It is true that ISIS has a lot of land, but their only strategy right now is cruelty. It is bad enough that Syria has been in civil war for many years now, and many have been killed in the war. Now that ISIL has come in and threatened many nations, many minorities, including Christians, women, many others, things just get harsher and tougher for Syria. We must save them. We must help create peace in the Middle East.
Let us roll.